Well, today we're going to continue with more of New Japan's Kizuna Road, with the main event being the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles on the line. Also, we got NXT UK, which the main event had the number one contendership in a triple threat match for the NXT UK Championship. Also, we're going to see what happened in the aftermath since Don Callis was fired as, of course, the executive vice president of Impact Wrestling. Also, I'm going to throw in a Japanese wrestling promotion I haven't done for quite some time, but this is only for those who are into death matches. However, let's get started with another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that it's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I'm your host, Jay, right here. So let's begin right now with the Kizuna Road by New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is day 7. This took place on the 23rd of June, my bad. So, the first match, once again, we're continuing with the Young Lions thing. This time we got Yodo Tsuji taking on the Great-O-Khan. Now, this wasn't the first time these two have come cross paths. A while back when Great-O-Khan was in a feud against the Ace Tanahashi, Yoda Tsuji always looked up to Tanahashi as his hero, but Great-O-Khan has been trying to persuade him, saying he's a false hero. That the real hero is, of course, Will Ospreay. But this time, Yoda Tsuji put up a good fight, but however, he was still no match with Great-O-Khan, but he did put up a good effort. So I give him credit. But however, it was Great-O-Khan who won. Now, this next match was also from another young lion, Yuya Uemura taking on Kota Ibushi. Now, this was a very interesting match. Kota Ibushi was never amongst those who trained in the New Japan dojo. Unlike Great-O-Khan, if you guys know this or not, he actually trained in the dojo until he was sent on excursion to England, where he was with Rev Pro. He even was teaming with Rampage Brown. But this is a very unique situation because you got Yuya Uemura, who is training at the dojo, is wrestling against a guy who never been. But Kota Ibushi did mention in the past he has regretted that he wished he could have learned something, but Kota Ibushi is more of a self-taught wrestler than you couldn't possibly imagine. But I say it was a good match, despite the fact that it tells the story two different individuals from two different backgrounds that fit perfectly well. But however, it was Kota Ibushi who won his match against Yuya Uemura. This next match is a 10-man tag team match. We have Tomoaki Honma, Togi Makabe, Yuji Nagata, Satoshi Kojima, and Hiroyoshi Tenzan taking on members of Chaos, Toru Yano, Kaguchika Okada, Yoshihashi, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroki Goto. Now, I mentioned this before. The 3 current never openweight 6-man tag team champions, Yoshihashi, Ishii, and Goto, are going to be challenged by Nagata, Tenzan, and Kojima. So this is one of those preview matches that we're going to see down the line. It's going to be a very interesting, but this match was out of nowhere. But however, it was once again Goto who picked up the victory for his team, basically sending a message to the veterans, seeing if they have what it takes to dethrone what I believe is now the powerhouse of Chaos. The next match, we have Suzuki-gun members um, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, El Desperado, or as we call him, Despy, um, Zack Sabre Jr., and Taichi. Now, Taichi himself brought a box. I don't know if he's playing mind games with Naito. Naito is the kind of guy who likes to get into people's heads trying to mess with him. But this time it was a very interesting match. But however, Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. believes that both Sanada and Naito are not even worthy to become champions. But the match, it did prove. But however, I don't think this is one of those matches like it told, we told you guys are not worthy. But Naito will not listen. He's the kind of guy who will do whatever it takes to get what he wants. Now, he has been IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champion before, but the previous ones that ever got those titles in LIJ was Sonata, and now the Turncoat Evil. But that's pretty much it. But it would be interesting to see Naito and Sonata work together because mostly we would have seen Sonata with Tagagi, but it didn't go that well. But however, it was uh, what was it, Taichi or Zack Sabre Jr. I don't remember which one of the two that picked up the victory for his team, but however, they continue to mess with him. And it's kind of very unique that these two guys are still playing mind games with each other. This is going to be a very interesting storyline to see. Now on to the main event, which is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. Not too long ago, um, after the match between Desperado and Yo, Bullet Club members Taiji Shimudi and El Fantasmo challenge the current champions for a shot of the titles. Now, this was a very interesting thing. The match was great. I mean, it was really good. I enjoyed it. But however, Kevin Kelly did post it out something at the end that made perfect sense. Now, for months, we have been seeing El Fantasmo claiming that his super kick, known as sudden death, that he's been training in the forest in Canada. But he did believe that there is a possibility that El Fantasma has something in his shoe, but you need to prove it. And that is a very interesting storyline where they're going. Now, do we think they're going to show it? I don't know. But however, this really did help El Fantasma to pick up the victory for his team. But the real question, who will be dethroning him? Right now, there's not a lot of the junior heavyweight contenders. Hiromu is still out of action. We don't know when he'll be back, and we don't know if there's going to be any junior heavyweights coming from other locations from here in the United States, the UK, or anywhere else. But we'll see where we're going to go from there. So we'll follow more on Kizuna Road. We won't see more until maybe the weekend or the start of the week of the week. But let's just keep moving forward right now with NXT UK. Okay, NXT UK, it opened up with Mark Coffey, who is decided to challenge Shaw Samuels. He annoyed him about a week ago. He's trying to one up against his own tag team partner Wolfgang, who was successful in being in a match against Sam Gradwell. But the match was very good. Shaw Samuels thought he had everything under his control, but however, with Joe Coffey, who's a tag team specialist, but comes from one of the most dominant factions within NXT UK, Shaw Samuels had no chance whatsoever. So Joe Coffey won, and he continued on. So we'll see what Gala's members are going to do. Now, as you know, many of the women's division in NXT UK, with the exception of Amelia, who is believing that spot in the gauntlet was stolen from her by Meiko Satomura. One person was very proud of her, and that is someone who is familiarized with Meiko Satomura. I'm talking about Meiko Satomura's protege and a well-known British wrestler down in the scene, Amelia McKenzie. She said that she's very proud of her, but however, her little statement was being interrupted by the witch herself, Isla Dawn. Now, I don't know if they're going to build up a feud between these two. That would be an interesting thing to watch. Now, last week we saw Subculture picked up Danny Luna and Flash Morgan Webster picked up an amazing win against Joseph Connors and Ginny. However, the current NXT UK Tag Team Champions, Pretty Deadly, are not impressed. Now, they think what Danny Luna did, touching Joseph Connors, was illegal. However, the ref didn't see a thing. So that's what happened. Just like Pretty Deadly, they pretended the referee didn't see a thing. But she did reminded both Morgan and Andrews that they know what to do. So most likely we could see those two going for the NXT UK Tag Team titles. The next match we have Laura Di Matteo, an Italian female wrestler, facing off the debut of Stevie Turner. This was a very interesting match. I don't know much about Stevie Turner, but it was a good match, I'm not going to lie. I think she was very impressive. But she really did pick up the victory. Like I said, I don't know much about her, but I'll do my research when I get a chance. Now, Nathan Frazier, as you know, he's originally from Jersey. He actually trained in the U.S. Now he's learning the ways of British wrestling. During his training, he was interrupted by the arrogant and cocky and despicable Kenny Williams, who looks like he wants to challenge him. But we'll see what happens if Sid Scala and Johnny Saint would approve it. Now, I'm going to say this right now because apparently NXT UK are getting a brand new female star in NXT UK. The name was revealed to be Blair Davenport. Now, you probably ask yourselves, who the hell is Blair Davenport? To be honest with you, I have that suspicious feeling, who could that be? You probably think I'm crazy, but I think it has to be Bea Priestley. Now, some of you probably saying, wait, isn't she with Stardom? Not anymore. There's a reason why. Let's go back to 2019 for all of you. So I'm going to pause here for a little bit before continue on reviewing NXT UK. Back in 2019, WWE did had an interest in her. However, Bea Priestley made a decision to move from the UK to Japan, just like her real life boyfriend, Will Ospreay. However, as you know, because she's living in the UK, there was a possibility she would have been sent to the NXT UK brand, which was probably normal. However, she ended up going with AEW. She did appear in the first ever female casino battle royal that took place in All Out, and she's been wrestling for these guys since. But however, and since the pandemic hit, it was already announced that Bea Priestley was released from the company due to the fact they were unable to bring her into the States. They did the same thing with Jimmy Havoc and what's her name, with Sadie Gibbs. However, the entire time while this pandemic was happening, Bea Priestley was still in Japan, being part of Stardom. But her last match took place not too long ago in Yokohama's Dream Cinderella, where she challenged for the red belt, which is currently held by Utami Hayashishida, and she was in a losing effort, and it was revealed that it was her last match. But was told and reported by various sources that she got signed by WWE. So this was still the plan that WWE wanted. However, for this to happen, she has to move back to the UK, while Will Ospreay remained still in the UK and still in Japan. But however, we all know where he is now. He's currently in the UK. So it did reveal that she will make her appearance this summer, but the day is still in question. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm going to slap myself in the face for all of you. But we'll see what happens. The next match, we have Oliver Carter versus Tailman. Now, Oliver Carter wanted revenge against Tailman for what he did to his partner, Ashton Smith, by breaking him. I have to say, best match I have ever seen Oliver Carter involved. However, still not enough to stop Tailman, who is a very unstoppable force, and it was very brutal. But he actually won when he put him in a submission, but he continued to punish him some more. Now, Rohan Raja showed up. We all thought that he was going to kick his butt after what happened last time, where he broke his wrist. Instead, he aligned himself with him and decided to attack Oliver Carter. And it was like, what the hell just happened? Why would he align himself with it? He broke his hand. Who knows? We may get a very interesting story, but we'll see what happens down the road for this. The main event is the number one contender for the NXT UK Championship title in a triple threat match. We have Ilya Dragunov, Rampage Brown, and Joe Coffey. This was a very interesting match because Joe Coffey and Rampage Brown were mostly focused on each other, but somehow Ilya Dragunov was in fact trying to butt in. It kind of fit perfectly in the story, and I would not imagine that Ilya Dragunov was going to win this one. It was an impressive win. However, he received a visit from none other than the in-ring general and the current NXT UK champion, Walter. And he sent a direct message that he may not win this title, that he's not going to take that away from him, that he is dominant. And this is going to be an interesting storyline between both Dragunov and Walter. However, can Dragunov get through this? We'll just gotta wait and see. Okay, so we got Impact Wrestling. As you know, we're coming out from a week ago where Don Callis was fired by a representative of Anthem, the owners of Impact Wrestling. Turned out to be Tommy Dreamer, who is the representative, and he fired Don Callis. Don Callis came in acting like nothing happened. However, he was livid at the fact he is no longer in the VIP list because he's now assigned as a performer. So basically, he's not happy. So he's like acting like he is the guy who made everything happen, like all this and that. But of course, he cannot make matches anymore. He can't do nothing to make things happen. So this was kind of interesting, but we'll see how that goes. The opening match is Rosemary facing off against Kiera Hogan along with Tasha Steelz. Now, this one was a very interesting match. If Rosemary won this match, there's a chance that she and Havoc could have a title shot for the Impact Knockouts Tag Team titles. That is something that came into mind. But however, as you know, Tasha Steelz on the side watching, making sure if the ref is not looking, she'll do her little hanky-panky, but it did not happen. Havoc showed up. But somehow, Rosemary pulled off an amazing victory when she pinned her for the 1-2-3, indicating now they will get a shot of the Impact Wrestling's Knockouts Tag Team titles. Now, as you know, last week we saw what happened in the alliance between both Rohit Raju and Ace Austin. Josh Alexander and everybody else with Petey Williams and Trey Miguel. Chris Bay, in the other hand, was the only one that never came out to deal with it. Basically, right now, he's on his own. However, will that help him his chances to win the title? That is a good question, because Petey Williams, what I did, like he said, I was with Team Canada. We beat up with the Lone Wolves, and it wasn't fun. So he's telling him, you need to pick a side, or someone's gonna do it for you. So that is like not a threat, but more like a reality check. Now, this next interview, Tommy Dreamer, talked about what happened. And of course, Scott D'Amore issued an apology to Dreamer because Dreamer was right about Don Callis. He was concerned from day one about Don Callis' involvement with Kenny Omega. You see, much of this is what Dreamer knew this was going to happen. But he put his best interest at heart to help Impact Wrestling to move forward without Don Callis' interference. Basically, Don Callis made a choice to, run with the ball, pretend that he makes the right choices. Now, this next match is no longer, it became more of former friends turning foes. Susan, along with Kimberly, taking on Deonna Purrazzo. As you know, Deonna Purrazzo was disappointed in both Kimberly and Susan for not winning the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Tag Team Top Champions. But this has became more of a grudge. Deonna Purrazzo even showed that she doesn't need people around her, despite the fact that she did get help from them to maintain the titles. But when she defeated Susan by putting her in the armbar, Kimberly tried to help her out, try to get her off. So basically, Deonna Purrazzo is now on her own. She doesn't have any friends, but we'll see what will happen down the line in the future with her. Now, Don Callis decided to confront Dreamer. They decided to throw in a little match where Don Callis will have Kenny and the Good Brothers, and Dreamer will have a team of his own, but that was told later. Now, this is what happened. Dreamer went out looking for people that would be part of his team. We saw him talking to Sammy. Now, we all know Sammy would say no, but however, Sammy kind of said that he was thankful that he was his partner and they won. It would have been worse for him. But he did state he is glad to join him. However, someone decided to step in and decided to join him on this little match, unaware that this is a 6-man tag team match. And Tommy told Sammy, should we tell him who is the third partner? And Sammy's like, nah, it's going to be fun. So it was revealed that the third partner is the one person who's challenging Moose at Slammiversary, and that person is Chris Sabian. I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was funny. Now, the next match we have Rohit Raju and Raja Shira taking on Petey Williams and Trey Miguel. However, the match would have gone great if it wasn't for the interference of both Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. And because of that, it did allow for Rohit Raju to win the match. And of course, a beatdown came in on the post-match. When Rohit Raju won, that was it. Josh Alexander and who else came out? And, well, Josh Alexander tried to take him out. But however, Chris Bay, he was just watching and he videotaped this and put it on Instagram. So basically, he is trying to stay outside, but however, I did notice, I don't know if you guys did, that Rohit Raju and Shera and Ace Austin and Matt are trying to tell him to join him. This is what they were talking about. Pick a side. But we'll see what happens with that. Now, as you know, there has been really a dysfunctional ties between both Rachel Ellering and Jordan Grace. Now, what's been going on in this storyline is that Rachel Ellering has been trying to have Jordan Grace on the same page. Now, Jordan Grace started throwing a fit about saying she can do things on her own, that she was the one who defeated the longest reigning Knockouts champion, which was Tel Valkyrie, as we know her now, Frankie Monet. Was part of the first ever Iron Man match. She was involved in the X Division. However, while this was happening, here comes the one person who's like the voice of reason, Jazz, to try to make peace with it. So, however, whatever happens then, Jordan Grace made a decision. She needs time to think. And then, of course, we got the buzzkill. Tennille Dashwood. She's been trying for weeks to get Rachel Ellering to be by her side, saying she is the real partner for her. But we all know that there's no way. Tennille Dashwood is not a team player. That's the problem. She always abandons her partner. She already did that with Madison Rayne, Alicia Edwards, and Jordan Grace. Rachel Ellering is not going to fall for that. But of course, she did say she wants a rematch, thanks to her little puppy dog who decided to interfere. And that puppy dog is Caleb with the K. Now, the next match we have the protege of the most professional wrestler taking on Jake something. Now, I'm going to give away a little bit of what happened. Brian that Brian Myers pulled out a chair and tossed it in there, and Jake grabbed it and then he tossed it in there. And of course, he beat him fair and square. But of course, in the post match, Brian Myers is calling him unprofessional. He beat him fair and square. And he's saying that Jake something will never be professional. So basically, he is lying to himself. What is going on? I thought it's an interesting story, but I'm waiting for Matt Cardona to come back and then show him who is really the true professional. So that I'm going to be waiting for. Now, the main event is for the Impact World Tag Team titles between Eddie Edwards and Kojima, taking on Violent by Design's Dreamer and Joe Dorian, while Rhino and Eric Young look on. I have to say the match was pretty good. It did show. Now, however, I think many people would say, did we really need to see Kojima win the title? I mean, the tag team titles. I mean, it would have been nice, but I don't think that's part of the plan. Because I think we don't know how much he will be utilized in New Japan, despite the fact that he's always been a New Japan person. So it's still unclear on that, but it was a good match. However, it was Eddie Edwards who tried to take down Joe Dorian, but it was no good. Dorian put him in that super power bomb, and 1, 2, 3, Violent by Design retained the titles. But we'll see who will be the lucky competitors to dethrone Violent by Design and tell them that the world belongs to everyone. Okay, the last thing I'm going to review for all of you, this is from Pro Wrestling Freedoms, or as we just call it, Freedoms. This is the promotion that has death matches. Their event is called This Is Our Era 2021. This took place on March 4th of this year. Opening match was a tag team match. We have Tomoya Hirata and Dragon Libre taking on Alejandro, who's one of my favorites, and Keiji Fukimoto. It was a really good match. I like it. Alejandro is really impressive, but however, it was Keiji Fukimoto who pinned what's his name? Tomoya Hirata 1, 2, 3, and that was it. I say it was a good match. Next match is a singles competition. We got Rekka taking on Takashi Sasaki. It's really a good match. Now, Rekka, I might have seen him once or twice with Pro Wrestling Freedoms, but he did a good job. But he faces off against the founder of Freedoms, and it kind of tells that he still got it, no matter what, if he's either a promoter or a wrestler. So I had to say Sasaki pulled off a good win on this one. The next match is a tag team match. We got Kengo teaming with Yuya Suzumu, who we know him from Pro Wrestling Noah, taking on Mammoth Sasaki, who is, of course, what's his name? Takashi Sasaki's brother, and Violento Jack. The match was pretty good. It was getting in the right track. But however, things took a really weird turn. Violent Jack turned his back on Sasaki, and the other team was in shock. They even tried to separate him from Sasaki, but it's still unclear why he did it. But I'm assuming in the next event we might find out why. Next match, we have a 6-man tag team match. We have Branham Gen, Branham Rue, and Branham Kia taking on the tag team champions Unchained, Rina Yamashita, and Minoru Fujita, who are teaming up with Kamui. It was a good match, a good effort, but however, it was Branham Rue who picked up the victory for his team. And of course, this led to the possibility of a tag team titles. So this is, I think, the next one that could happen. I'll let you guys know when we get it. Now, the main event is the fluorescent light tube death match with team number 1, Erie, consisting of Toshiyuki Sakata, Masashi Takada, and Takayuki Oiki, taking on Jun Kasai, Daisuke Masaoka, and Toru Sugire. This match was so crazy, all light tubes everywhere. You know how that works when it comes to death matches, but however, somehow it was, what's his name? Takeda, who picked up the victory when he pinned, what's his name? Masaoka. It was crazy. But we'll see what happens down the line with this team. I think this is just, they only had one death match. Normally they will have two, but in this one they only have one. But I think I'm okay with this one. I will follow more up on this. I think there's another event that I may have to review on this one in a couple of days or week. I don't know, depending on how I'm planning everything. But I think that's pretty much it with Freedoms. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As you know, I love reviewing what I got right now. Also throwing a bit of the Japanese wrestling side. Coming up, I got, of course, 205 Live and New Japan Strong with the second series of the Ignition Tour. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible. I'm going to throw in a DDT event that had already happened. Reason I'm doing this is because this coming Saturday, I'm working my regular day job for a 12-hour shift, but only will do one review on for the Saturday episode, which is going to be AEW Dynamite. I'm really sorry I couldn't add any more because I really want to get that out of the way as much as possible. Sunday, I may or may not throw in an episode because I'll be doing the podcast and other things. But we'll see what happens down the line. But also, we'll keep announcing what's going to happen since then. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.